starting is what we're doing right now. Whoa, got a little bit of echo here. But yes, what's up, Cheesesteak Logan? We are starting right now. Wow, hold on. This is, my monitor is monitoring. Ignore, you can slide it out. It's broken. I don't know what I'm doing. 1 second, this is like very jarring. Hello? Hello? Nope, I can still hear myself. Hold on, give me a second, everyone. Your boy is going through it. I found it. Not anymore. Okay, I had some echo going on. That's my bad. Fix it. What's up, everyone? What's up, 88 Opus? Cheesesteak Logan, SVJR. Hold on, let me move some stuff around. Make sure I can see what I got here. Also, there goes the slides for tonight. How's everybody doing tonight? Tonight's gonna be fun.
Yes, it is.
Tonight we're going over some object-oriented programming. Everyone say hi to Terrence.
What's up, guys?
He's behind.
How you doing? Gonna have fun tonight.
I probably need to turn up the mic gain is actually pretty because this room is so echoey.
Can we get 2 mics?
We can get 2 mics. I have a second one. Let me pull up the slides. I don't know why I'm so like I'm out of it right now. Another long day, but I'm okay. I'm doing all right. I recovered. The weekend was the weekend was nice. The weekend was good. It was I don't know. I watched movies and did work the whole weekend, so can't ask for much more than that. All right. What are we going to? We have slides. I've shared the slides. This is the wrong account. Mastermind. There we go. I'm making progress now. My brain's getting back into it.
There we go.
Let's do it. Cool. Shared the link, so we're good to go there. But yeah, we're gonna start. Oh no, I don't have a subtitle. The subtitle must be because I need it. You down with the OP? Perfect.
I like it.
All right, because you can't learn anything if there's no subtitle. So this is what we're gonna be doing tonight. Actually,
Was that off the top?
no, I mean it was off the top like 2 minutes ago when I was about to start.
I love it.
Appreciate the Twitch Prime, Cheesesteak Logan. I think you were sub before, but appreciate it. I really do. Welcome back to the channel if it's a resub. Welcome to the channel if you're just starting out. But yeah, we've gone over a lot of cool stuff. We've kind of learned, kind of took all the tools. So we got them. We got the hammer. We got the wrench. And we put them all in our little tool belt because we're wearing carpenter jeans because we're carpenters. And so we got all that stuff now. And tonight we learned how to kind of use those things to actually build a chair, and, put together our wood and screw things in. So we've been learning how to start doing those things with algorithms and things like that, the things that we've been solving. Tonight we're going to learn about object-oriented programming. We're going to learn how to make that a little bit easier. We're going to learn how to make the process a bit easier, how to manage our code a little bit different. I'll be honest, tonight is probably going to be a little bit taxing. It's probably going to be a little, there's going to be a lot of cognitive load on you tonight. So I actually kept the night very light. There's a reason why this object-oriented programming section is broken up into 2 pieces. And so it's this piece. Tonight it's going to be mostly the high-level pieces of object-oriented programming. We'll dive into classes. We'll write a bit of code, but I remember when I was learning this, I remember when people kind of go through this, that people have trouble usually with classes. So tonight is going to be relatively light, and it'll be a lot heavier on Wednesday because we're not going to actually go over any specific concepts. There will be no slides. We'll probably rerun quickly over these slides on Wednesday, but we'll dive into more examples and we'll start building stuff with it. This is super important because the first project that we're going to have, which is going to be that blackjack game, I'm going to give you stub code, and it's going to have a lot of classes in it. Or it's going to have some classes in it. So it's going to be immediately applicable to understanding what we're doing there and how you can start to contribute to what you're doing there. So again, tonight's light. We may get out, we may get some of your time back tonight, may get 20, 30 minutes back tonight, possibly. We'll see. We're going to mess around. We are going to write some code, but should be pretty light. But nah. But how's everyone doing? Before we get started, how's everyone doing? I didn't get my coffee, which is fine. I didn't get to work out today, which is very frustrating. I'm probably going to run home after this, and I don't know. I'm doing good. I'm trying to stay on my New Year's resolution goals. I keep watching super motivational videos.
Nice.
And they're getting me hype.
You been hitting it every day?
Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
That's almost every day.
But I be chilling some days. I just do like a little light cardio. I don't go super hard every day. But yeah. Last two Python episodes. Oh yes, those are rendered. Those are renders. I did not post them because I've been super busy. I will get those posted tonight. The only reason I hadn't posted them because they would go up, but I wouldn't be around to. I wasn't going to be around to modify the information on them. So those will get uploaded right after this. I would do it right now, but that would probably break the stream for a little bit. So all of last week's streams will go up today. They are already rendered out. So keep an eye out on those if you need them. They'll be pretty good. I also need to push some new config files. I'm using Hyper, but my settings for Hyper, I've modified it a bit. I've also modified my Vim settings just a little bit. So I'll get that over to people one day soon. Thank you. Cool. So let's get started. Tonight, intro to object-oriented programming. You down with OOP, not OPP. We're not down with other people's property, but we are down with object-oriented programming. It's a dad joke. I like dad jokes. I'm not a dad, but it's yes, I do use Vim and Hyper, and you'll see that tonight. Okay, you probably hear about objects all the time. You've interacted with these things before. What are objects? What are these crazy object things that we've been speaking about? Oh, this is Terrence. He's been around. Terrence is okay, just give us.
You gotta do the whole intro.
Give us next week. Next week we'll do full intros next week.
Yeah.
But no, it's not your fault. Terrence been hanging around. He's helping out with some stuff. What's up, Code Nectar? Welcome to the channel. Thank you for the follow. But nice, smart engineer, software engineer. He's definitely OG. He's been around since the pilot, since the first DevOps Bootcamp engineering panel. So he's just
March.
Is he in house already? I wish. I wish. For sure that would be great. That would definitely be great. But cool. All right, what are objects? So objects. This is again. You're always going to get a straight from Google definition that works. I do that because I don't think you need to reinvent the wheel here. I think giving you the actual definitions that we get from Google and things, and expanding upon that works just fine, I hope. But yes, objects, what are they? An object is simply a collection of data. So I'll stop there. It's just a collection of data. You've learned about different data types in Python. So you know what a collection of data looks like. You know what, multiple pieces of data looks like. So an object is a collection of data, of data properties and attributes. So these things are actually variables, and you'll see those in a second. And methods, which are functions. So remember the words properties and attributes. People kind of use those interchangeably. I hear most people use properties, but I hear attributes a lot as well. These are going to be your variables, and methods are basically functions that exist within inside of an object or a class, or same thing, but that act on those data. So these functions act on the data that is in these objects. So a little bit convoluted of a definition, but the important thing to know here is that an object is a collection of data, and that collection of data has, properties which are variables. It's basically variables and functions in there as a part of the collection. Start there. Don't try to kill yourself. Don't try to kill yourself. Just that's all you need to know right now. You'll be able to build on that once you get in there and you dive into this stuff. So we got an object. But what is object-oriented programming? So a lot of the stuff I've been teaching you so far has not been object-oriented programming. Python is, in fact, an object-oriented programming language. And again, you're about to find out exactly what that means. But the way I've kind of been teaching you, just kind of, making these functions and writing these functions out and using the spaghetti code to make things happen, it's not the same. I forgot what the word for that is. There's a word for programming like that, but it's not object oriented. So what is object oriented programming? So a lot of words here. Again, we'll break it down. So we learned about objects. We learned what objects were, that collection of data, which includes variables and functions. But object-oriented programming is a programming paradigm. So it's a paradigm. So it's not a specific, it's kind of a way of doing things based on the concept of objects. So you just learned about that concept of objects. Those objects contain data in the form of fields and code in the form of procedures. So object-oriented programming allows us to utilize these objects to make things happen. And so a feature of objects is an object's procedures that can access and often modify the data fields of an object. That's whack. Ignore that piece. Ignore that last piece. That's also copied from Google. I think that's very confusing. I don't like that. A feature of objects is an object's procedures that can access and often modify the data fields of the object with which they're associated. So I just think there's a lot of words that don't really explain to you what object-oriented programming is. For right now, for this moment right now, just know that object-oriented programming, we're going to build on this throughout the episode. An object-oriented programming is programming that uses objects, that's focused around objects to achieve the functionality that you need. And again, just start there. It's oriented around those objects, that collection of data that we just talked about, because this is I gotta go back and change this.
Why would they say that?
See, this is what happens when you copy off of Google sometimes. It's weird because when I read it the first time, I thought it made sense. It doesn't make sense when you say it out loud. You should say things out loud before you copy and paste them, because then you'll know for sure if they make any sense. So cool. Spaghetti code, objects is an instance of a class. Yes, but objects are actually, well, yes. We'll go into more than that. So spaghetti code is just code that kind of just maps around in different places, functions that pass other functions, and goes all around. It's kind of confusing, kind of hard to. Procedural was the word I was looking for, Viable Clan member. Procedural code often gets very spaghettified. But not, functional programming is a different thing. One day we'll talk about functional programming. You can actually use Python to do functional programming as well, even though it is an object-oriented language. But procedural is what we were looking for. Great GIF. I thought it was funny when I saw. I was like, "Who recorded this? Like, what did they tell this guy to do?" It's pretty funny. But more meatball code than spaghetti code. Sure, meat wad code. Cool. How about objects can change their own data? Yes. Objects can change their own data. Yes, sure. All right, so again, programming that's oriented around these objects, which is this collection of data, which includes variables and functions. So before we get into we're gonna talk about the pillars of object-oriented programming tonight. And again, tonight is gonna be, again, like I said, it's gonna be short, but focused on the concepts. I think if you're hopping into this for the first time, I really do think tonight's gonna be a little bit confusing. It's weird because when I look at them now, when I look at classes now, I'm like, this is nuts. This isn't crazy. Right. But I really do remember when I first started learning about this. And when I was talking about this earlier, when I told people earlier tonight that I was doing object-oriented programming, people were like, ooh, like, yeah, that's good stuff, but how long are you taking on it? Like, you're just doing one class on it. I was like, nope, broke it up into two, and they gave me the thumbs up, like that was a good idea, because I think that most people had some issues. Not issues, but just it takes a while to kind of wrap your head around some of this stuff. So classes. Let's talk about our classes. So we talked about those objects, again, being the collection of data, the variables and the functions. But what is a class? Is simply a blueprint of those objects. So it is a defined structure basically of these objects. And we're gonna build our first class right now. So generally, you're going to use, it also takes some time to realize when is a good time to use classes and what classes are good for. Commonly, classes are used to group together variables and functions that are related, that are like that are all a part of something. So one of the things we can do is like we can do what are all the, there's like a bunch of common ones that people always start with. We'll start with let's open up our terminal. Let's go ahead and create a file really quick, and we'll do one for like a car, we'll do one for like a student or person or something, but we'll just do we'll just create a couple of objects really quick. Make a bun object and have it toast itself. I like that. Oh, that's a good that's a good one. See, you guys are so clever. Sometimes I need you all when I'm making these slides. I want to be clever just like that. So that's caps lock, mastermind, CD, Python, streams. Got that wrong. Python. Let's go ahead and make a new directory. And call this classes. All right, so we're gonna vim our first class.p. All right, so let's make our first class. So let me see here. I like the bun thing. Do some shapes. We can do some shapes as well, sandwich, things like that. Yeah, okay, so we'll start off with a simple one first, and we can make a bunch of these. And I think the more and more classes you make, the more and more you start to understand kind of how to use them. So how do you first define a class? So we learned how to make a variable, using an assignment operator, which is that equal sign. We learned how to do, we learned some of the keywords for, defining a function using that def keyword. For classes, you simply do a class keyword. You see it pops up red in my Vim, but class is how you, not instantiated class. This is how you define your class, and you can give it a name. First, I'm just gonna give it a name like car. Cause I think we all know what a car is. I hope. And then you don't have to give it anything, but we'll just call it class car, just like that for now. So we'll stop there for a second. Because I can just see in the corner of my eyes again. So actually, there's a bunch of boxes in here. I actually finally got the monitor mount. I didn't tell you guys about this. We'll stop before we make this class. Someone asked me yesterday, like, oh, like the view is different. If you weren't on Friday, then yes, the view is different. And I had to move the camera over to the left because I brought more monitors in the room from home. I had some monitors at home, but I'm working on a little different setup. But I was waiting on a monitor mount to come in. I'm basically going to have an ultra wide. My ultra wide monitor is going to be up top, and then I have two 27-inch monitors. That's going to be one on the left, one on the right underneath it. So I just got it in. So I had to put the camera off to the left. I think the camera will be more like back towards the center once everything's done.
This is going to be up here?
That's going to be up, and this is going to be here. This one's going to be here. But yeah, so it's weird angle over here. So it should be cool. So like because of that, the monitor that I'm actually working off of is right under the camera, but the chat and everything is over here to the right. So like I can see everyone typing my peripherals where it used to be right in front of my face. So I might miss some of your stuff tonight. Yeah, we need to compile onions and peppers. I like this. The best class I know is called Mastermind Academy. Oh, that was so sweet. See, that's a shirt. That's a shirt. These are shirt ideas. And I will, if you guys buy it, I will pay you. I will give you some royalties. The best class I know is called Mastermind Academy. I like that. We can dynamically link it to French fries at runtime. Are you gonna second desk for your intern? That's you. Whoa. No, I'm joking. He's not an intern, but maybe.
Intern status, bro.
Intern. I like it. Quick. I like that. Yes, I'm actually moving offices as well. March 1st, we're actually moving down a little bit, so there's a little more space.
Official now? March 1st?
I'm pretty sure it's official.
I'll be here. Oh.
So we will have a second desk. We'll have a second desk, and maybe so we'll make more announcements about that. All right.
Yes.
All right. So we'll start with car first, just to start with this. So, so we can have a class car, and again, a car can hold things like not a car, but a class can hold things like variables. It can hold things like what else things called? Like functions as well. But this is how you define a class. I could make a file that's just like this with my class, and that will be great. This would work. It will be fine. I'm pretty sure if I run this, it would run no problem. We don't get an error. You know that when you do have something that doesn't work, like if I were to comment this out, it does give you an error. So if you needed to write an empty class for some reason, you could write it just like this. So this next part, classes don't need, but I want to get it out the way early because this part is very confusing. I want to get it out the way. And hopefully it breaks your brain a little bit, and then you start to, I want you to see early so that you can start to create patterns with it. So we're about to talk about is something called, I actually don't think it's called a constructor in Python, but it's an init constructor function. That's what it's called in other languages. But what this does is, this is a function that kind of initializes the instance of this class when it's called. We'll talk about the initialization of a class in a second, but for you to do this, you're gonna go ahead and you're gonna have this init function here. And so again, don't think of anything crazy. It does need these 2 underscores on both sides. Don't sweat it. Just remember this. Remember 2 underscores, init underscore, and that this is a function. And it starts with def. It is a function, so the def shouldn't be new to you, and it's called init here. So def new would have been nice. Yes. Yes. This is we gotta start fresh, extra fresh. So in this init function, by default, these initialization functions, they take some parameters, so you can pass parameters to them just like any other function. But the first thing that you have to pass in is actually self. Well, okay, not self, but it's actually the initialization of this function is actually the first parameter that gets passed in. It's commonly noted as self. So we're gonna be using self. You can call this whatever you want, but this is the common paradigm that you're talking about. And so this is this line right here is why I think classes are confusing. The concept of self being the initialized version of this class is actually self. I find it very hard to explain that topic, but again, I think as we get through some things, you'll see that. But this is the first option that's passed in. And again, I can call it whatever I want, but you should call it self. But what are some things that we may want to define about a car? What are some things that would be descriptive about a car? We know that a car could have a color, so we want to know if our car is like red or blue. We could have the make, which the make would be, car company that made it, the model, and year. And let's go horsepower, because I care about motorsports.
Gosh.
We got to know about how much horsepower. And actually, I don't care about horsepower. Yeah, I do. I do care about horsepower. I was going to say torque, but horsepower.
More important for like muscle cars and stuff.
They are this. Horsepower is a function of torque. So
okay.
over time, basically. So it's like torque's the only thing you can measure.
Gotcha.
And you calculate horsepower based on it. Yeah.
All
right. So these are just so how many dead hookers can fit in the trunk?
Whoa, what?
It's a good question, but we don't have a trunk because we don't have any dead hookers. How about that? That seems like the most politically correct answer.
I love that.
But good question.
You should on your feet too, bro.
So, all right. So these are just different things we can know about our function. We actually don't have to pass them in this way, but just like any other function, this is going to allow us to basically pass in these different things into this class. Now that these things are going to get passed in, we're going to go ahead and we're going to assign these to some variables. We're going to go ahead and assign this to some variables. So we're going to create some class variables. So there's a difference between a class variable and an instance variable. An instance variable is going to be one instance of this class. Again, a lot of the words that I'm saying now, I haven't found a good order to explain the way that classes work, because it kind of is like this looping cycle of things that you need to know. So I'm just telling you about some things before we get to them. We're defining this class, but this class itself doesn't really do anything. by itself. We need to define an instance of this class and work with that. So what you would do is, again, this self refers to the instance that is currently running. And I would say something like self.color equals color. Actually, opposite. Sorry. Color. I want to set a variable of color. I think it's opposite. I can never remember. Let's try this. Self.color. It's either, I might need to switch it, but again, this is referring to the incoming instance of what we're going to be doing. So the make is going to get set to what's happening here. Self dot make. Can I tab complete this? Yeah. Model equal to self dot model year. The variable year is going to get equal to self dot year, and horsepower is going to get equal to self dot horsepower. Okay. So basically we're setting up some variables in here. And so we're basically setting the variable color, make, model, year, horsepower, and we're setting it equal to, okay, so it is switched. Like I said, so what's interesting is, I'm actually creating an advanced Go course for a conference. And like my mind has not been on Python at all. So I always like, because I haven't like gone back and reviewed, I'll fix it if stuff's supposed to be on the other side, which makes sense, because it's talking about this instance of this class. I'll fix it in a second. But basically what we're doing, I just want you to understand what we're doing in this portion down here. We're basically going to take the things that are passed in. So these are going to be arguments that are passed in, and we're going to take these arguments and we are going to set them equal. We're basically going to set them equal to a variable. And so the self does need to be on this other side. And I wrote it like that first. I don't know why I second guessed myself. Now I got to fix all of them, which is whack. Also, if anyone really wants to learn Go more deeply, you should come to GopherCon down in Florida in June, if you're interested at all in that. Me and Terrence are actually running the advanced course. We're gonna be doing things like, man, I cannot spell. We're gonna be doing things like benchmarking and a lot of performance things. Yes, so like, we're gonna be doing things like profiling, CPU profiling, memory profiling, concurrency, all that stuff, all of the good stuff, all the extra stuff that people don't want to usually do. We're gonna be doing. So if you're interested, you should get a ticket. You should definitely get a ticket. Yes, I'll give you guys a website. I love that.
It's on the GopherCon website, right?
I don't think she put it up yet. I'm not sure. Cool. So basically setting these equal to the things that are passed in. And so we can also, let's leave it as this for now. And so we basically have a function right here. But again, like I said, functions basically, not functions, classes basically don't do much on their own. You've got to instantiate them. You've got to create an instance of a class. So how do you do that? You can set it equal to a variable. So we can say something like my car is equal to car. Now, what is this doing? What in the world is this doing right here? It is basically creating an instance of this class here with the associated attributes, with the associated methods, and setting it equal to the value of my car. So what that means is now we can use my car to interface with the things that are inside of this class. And so again, this is also where it gets a little confusing. So right now, if I take this and let's say I try to print my car. I try to print out the variable my car. Let's just see what happens here. All right, so first thing that happens is exactly what you would think would happen if we were not talking about classes and we were just talking about functions. It says, hey, type error init takes exactly 6 arguments, but only 1 was given. And why does that happen? It's because up here we are taking in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 items, but we didn't pass anything to it. So when we instantiate this class, we need to go ahead, if it takes in, functions, it still has to apply to the rules of functions because this is in fact a function. We do need to go ahead and pass those things in. It is important to note that you do not need to pass in self though. Self is this, self. It's this instance of this, and that can be confusing. This is another keyword that we'll use in this that's a sucky word to kind of explain. Yeah, so we actually had a huge production this problem like last week, and being able to explain what was going on was so difficult. It was very difficult. But yeah, so we need to go ahead and we need to pass in things for these options. So what's our color? Obviously our first, it's gonna be red. Not that I would prefer red cars, but it's got to be a Corvette, so it's got to be red. Nice. So let's go with Chevrolet. My Corvette would actually not be red. It would actually probably be
white,
black or white with black accents and tinted windows.
Hey.
But yeah, so it's the model. The make is going to be Chevrolet. Actually, that's too many letters. I'm just typing
black.
Chevy.
Black Chevy.
Model is going to be a Corvette.
Curious on this year.
Year doesn't matter. I'll take
this is your Corvette though.
I'll take anything. I like the C6s and the C7s. So anything from 2006.
Okay.
2000. No, I think C6s came out in 03. I don't know, but we'll go. We're fancy, so we'll get the C8 actually. So we'll get the 2020 Corvette, and those have 455 horsepower. I don't know, something like that. I don't know. But so now we're gonna pass in these things here into this instance of my car. So yes, these will basically get passed into this initialization function. So when we call this class, it'll go ahead and it'll initialize. It'll take in all of these things and it'll go ahead and set these values. So let's first go ahead and print that. And so when we print it, we get something that we've seen before, but we didn't really know what it was. This is actually, is it 490? Okay. This is actually a reference to where it is in memory. This is the object letting us know main car instance at this memory location. And so that's great, but you're like, I don't know what that is. Like, how can I see what's inside of it? But it's not an error. It may look like an error to you because you've never seen it before. It is not an error. But what we can do now is, now that we've created this, we can reference things inside of it using dot notation. We've seen dot notation before, but let's say I wanted to know about, my car, and I wanted to know my car dot year. I wanted to know what year my car was, and maybe this shouldn't be a string, but whatever. I could print that out, and so I could, let's just go with this first. I can use dot notation, and I can get exactly that information. Again, I can reference things that are inside of that object. So my car itself, when I printed out my car itself, it's a reference to the entire object, but we can go ahead and we can interact with the things inside of that object. Again, this collection of data. And again, I can use that for anything. I could also use it to build out, I can build out a string of let's go with this and say, your car is I don't know why you would do this, a color, make, model, I want to put year in here. Year, why are there two? Is a year, make, model with with horsepower. All right, so I just use the things that are in here to format a string, to do some string interpolation, to basically say your car is a hopefully red 2020 Chevy Corvette with 455 horsepower. Hopefully this will print out just fine. And let's see. Invalid syntax. What am I missing here? Did I not close everything? Your car is a color. Do I need to put self? I think I need to put self. Yes, I don't know why I did that as well. Like, I think I need to do self dot and self, because this is the actual variable up here of this instance. Self dot. I'm gonna say it out loud every time I do it. Self dot. All right, and I spelled horsepower wrong. Horse. Print it out again. Oh, hold on. Invalid syntax. What am I doing wrong here? Your car is a self with HP. What am I doing wrong? Someone tell me what I'm doing wrong. Line 14. Print. This is a printf. Your car is a. You know what we're gonna do here? Watch this. I'm gonna comment this out. I close this. No. Sorry. I'm not in, that was dumb. I'm not at all. I'm not even in. Okay, ignore what I just did there. I was trying to reference this as if I was writing a function inside of here. I need to say, it needs to be like my car, dot self dot color. So we'll start out with just red here. Like I said, it's late. It's not late, but long day, long weekend.
It's very late.
What? Hold on. What's happening here? Hold on. Why can't I read this? My car. Now I don't need that self. Thank you. What? Hold on. I want to figure this out. This is how you cowboy code every time. This is how you cowboy code. What's happening here? My car. I printed out my car.color before.
What was the error?
I can't. It's saying invalid syntax. What am I doing? Can I not use that? Can I not use the F in for class? Yeah, I can. What? That's fine. Because what I actually want to do, that's weird. Can you not do that?
Brackets.
Try square brackets?
Yeah.
Oh, now I gotta undo. Can I undo?
Undoing this?
Hold on, let me see. Like with an F? If this works, I did not know that. This will be something I did not know. Hello.
Huh.
I didn't know. That's weird. I didn't know you couldn't do that. I guess I can't reach into a class. Does anyone know for sure? Oh, yes. Okay, thank you. Yes, you are right. You are. I did in fact know this. Yes, this is what you would do. When you need to interpolate them in this manner, this is how you would do it. No, that should work. But can I not use the F, or do I have to use dot format? My car color, paste it in chat. I don't run through my ID. I'm pretty sure this is right. Forgot. Oh, yes. You're right. Man, see, this is how you get yourself into freakishly wild things when it's not even a real problem. Oh, maybe not. Wait. Hello. My car color. Forgot the curly braces. Hey man, I'm at a loss here. No, I was just trying to interpolate. I was just trying to interpolate the class into a string. It's not. We don't need to do this at all. I was just trying to interpolate a class variable inside. I mean, so I actually wouldn't do it this way. I would actually make a function inside of the class to do this. Okay, you're just guessing. Okay, but this seems right. We'll fix that in a second. That's what I just did. Is that not what I just did? Let's see. That's not it? Can I not use the F? And hold on. This is gonna make me mad. You said, I mean, everyone's saying the brackets. That seems right. You only have one bracket. Do you have to declare the variables outside the end method? Probably. But first, let's just show you how you could do it. So we did define one thing here, and we could define them outside of here. But also, like, let's do something like let's just have a little fun, and we'll say, well, another one. We're gonna have a thing here that a function in here that's going to install mods. So we want to make our car faster, and we're going to install mods, and we'll do this print statement in a second. We'll figure that out in a second. But I just want to show in a class that you can add more things. You can add. I don't have to add things right here. I can add variables outside of this. It does not have to be in this init function. But let's say I want to install mods, and all this is going to do is this is going to make self dot HP equal to HP self dot HP. We're gonna just add some horsepower, so we're gonna do self dot HP plus equals 40. And let's go ahead and let's print this right, and we're going ahead and print all right. So what I want to do here, I'm going to put this at the bottom. So let's say in our program, you could do different things to your car. Maybe we're making a game or something, and you can make the car go forward. You can make the car go backwards. Part of your car, dot color. My car. I did that too. Apricot. That's the first thing I did. What? Somebody rewind it. That's the very first thing I did, but we'll check that out in a second. That's not a big deal. That has nothing to do with us understanding classes. I don't want to work on print statements when classes are hard to understand. So again, in these classes, you're generally going to be defining functions and variables that kind of are related and do things to the specific thing you're trying to create, and in the context of the program you're trying to make. So maybe we were making a program about a car, and our car could do things like move forward and backwards, and we could install mods which would add extra horsepower. But notice this is done. This function is inside of the class, and so I could define like a my car equals this basically, and you could call your function. You could call this function because we assigned we instantiated this class. My car has a full instance of this class here. That means it now has access to this install mods function. So to call something like that, remember functions are bits of code that only run when called, and we could do a mycar.install mods here. And let's see if that prints. I might have to change the self. I get confused with the self and the not self. Maybe this is not a number. Maybe I have to int this. Maybe I should int it up top, actually. Oh, that was dumb. That would just be... All right, so just take a look at what we did here. We basically instantiated a class of the car, and when we installed the mods, it went ahead and added 40 horsepower. So basically took our horsepower, because in my car, we passed in 455 horsepower. And so when we ran the install mods, it basically spit out 495 because it added to that. And we did that by calling this function again with dot notation. So this is one instance of the class, but it's encapsulated up here. Even this instance of the class is encapsulated right here. We're gonna talk about encapsulation in a second, but I could also do something like this, which is it ANCE or ENCE?
That's right.
Terrence Car. I'm not gonna put Terrence's because it's gonna get annoying. Terrence has a yellow
Okay.
Mini.
He spelled it yellow.
Oh, that's because I got fat fingers. A yellow Mini. And it's I'll give him a Cooper S. He's got Cooper S because they're kind of cool. I mean, they are kind of. I like minis, but it's he likes the retro, so it's like a 1972. I don't even know if these were made at this time. And that thing has 135 horsepower, so a much different car. But Terrence is actually going to utilize to create this. He's actually going to utilize the same exact class. So even though we have different cars, they both have the same properties. They both have the same things. They have the same collection of data types that we kind of need to talk about these things. So I can make an instance of a car, which is my car, which has these properties. And we can make an instance of Terrence's car, which has these properties. So again, they're both using the things up here. And you'll see in a second, I can also do Terrence car dot install mods. And we can see that function work accordingly with each instance of the class. So when it adds 40 to mine, I should be 495. When it adds 40 to Terrence's, it should be 175 if I did my math right, which is certainly possible that I did it wrong.
Hey.
And you can see here that it is able to do that. So this is very simply defining a function. Also, before we get into that, you actually don't need all these things. And I could also add in, these are class variables. These are variables that exist in the class, but I could also do something like this. I could also add in instance variables, so variables that work in the instance of this, and I could say something like my car dot what else is on dot wheels wheel size equals 20. I got 20-inch rims.
20 inches?
I got 20-inch rims. All right. So I could do this, and then I could print that out just to show you that it does actually get set. I think that should work. And you can see the 20 printout here. So you can set variables. So what this does is this wheel size, when I set it here, it is not something that exists inside of the class. So it is not a class variable. But I created one instance of the class, which is my car, and I set the wheel size here, which is 20. I got 20-inch wheels on here. I don't know what the real wheel size is on a Corvette. But if I try to do something like Terrence car dot wheel size, well, if I try to print Terrence car dot wheel size, it should in fact be an error.
So what's the benefit of setting it like this now for your car versus having it in the init method?
Great question. So if you couldn't hear, I'm pretty sure you could, but if you couldn't hear, Terrence asked, what's the benefit of setting it to an instance variable, to like a single instance of the variable rather than in the init function. And generally this is going to be done. There are more times than this, but generally it's going to be done when the instance of your variable has things that aren't common with the rest of the rest of the things that you're using. If it is something that's going to be common, if you're going to be using it throughout all the instances of this, throw it in this init function. There's also times when the way that a variable is calculated doesn't really work to be thrown into the class. I've seen things like that. But again, this all comes down to your needs and what's going on when you're actually using it. To start out, generally you're gonna do things like this when you're learning and when this instance of the thing that you're using doesn't have the stuff that you need. But you can also use this to change the value of elements. So I think I could actually change. I passed in red up here, but I could do color is now blue. So maybe I painted my car. Maybe that's something maybe you could add into your class functions, like paint. You can change the paint color or something. But if I now print out my car .color, and I delete this line, it should print out blue. So it was red when we created the instance of this class. It was red. But when I changed it, it is blue. It is blue now. So this is just like a normal variable. But again, this changes it inside of the instance of this, which is very different from the instance of this. Yeah. So this is a very basic thing. Like a very basic class. Like, not saying it's super easy to understand. I'm just saying this is a very basic class. Like, this is kind of the basics of classes and kind of setting up this init function and setting up some variables and maybe a couple of methods inside of here which do little things that you want them to do. Cool. Oh, people figured out the print statement. You have two. Oh yeah, so I know that one. Print car color, my car color worked for me. This is the first thing I did. That's literally the first thing I did. But okay,
did you have the brackets?
No, I mean, yeah, the brackets. Look. This is what I took away. This is what I like. Hold on. Let's make this line again.
Plot thickens.
You guys saw this. Did you F print it? Can I not? Like, I did this and I said, your car is a, and then this is what I did. No. We changed it. We changed it because it's not supposed to be this. It's supposed to be undo. Yeah, it's supposed to be. I would do a find and replace, but it's going to change the stuff up top.
There you go.
So we did this, and that's why I went down here. I want to see if just one worked. I went down here and I commented these out just to make sure one worked. My car.year, I'm seeing what you guys are. It should work, right? We did this. If this works, I'm gonna be mad. What?
There it is.
All right, I must have made a typo. I probably should have looked at what I was doing, but that's like the third thing we tried.
That was one of the things, though.
That is one of the things we tried. Okay, it's all good. All good. So that does work. That's why I was like, can you not like interpolate? Yeah, okay. Cool. All right, that's fine. Thank you for making me redo that again and making it work. I'm sure I got there. So, all right, so that's the basics of a class. I'm going to push this up in a second. But now we're going to dive into kind of just the 4 pillars of classes, and we're going to write some things to kind of understand how those work. All right, so wow, that was a long time spent just on that, which is fine, but all good. The first pillar, there are 4 pillars here. First pillar is, and these are just things that basically classes are both good for and good things that they allow you to do. But yeah, first one's encapsulation. So encapsulation describes the idea of wrapping data and the methods that work on that data within one unit. So again, that's exactly what we're doing with the class. We are taking all of that data and we're wrapping it together in one unit. We are encapsulating that data into one thing. This is great because it puts restrictions on accessing variables and methods directly and can prevent the accidental modification of data. And so I put this little black box thing here because this is a term for what encapsulation is. It's called black boxing. And so that encapsulation, that wrapping these things into one unit give you some protection here. And let's go back and kind of just look at it, both in terms of the class itself, and kind of this blueprint that we have here, as well as the individual instance of it is encapsulated. So this data is all encapsulated into just this thing here, and so again, it can stop from the accidental modification of things, because you won't be changing like the global year or things like that. It's all instantiated to each of these things here. He's on 3. I keep getting a type error on HP. I am using Python 3. Listen, I mean, if you don't do that, when you type in my car into the terminal, you'll be able to listen pretty instead of the memory address. Yes. Okay, good. Yeah, you guys keep working through that. Since you guys helped me through that, I feel dumb. But that is all encapsulation is. And again, this is good for a number of reasons. If we were trying to do something like this and manage it through variables that are either scoped to functions or scoped globally, we get into it's possible for us to get in a real weird state. Different things have access when they shouldn't have access. What encapsulating this data into this does is it makes it easier for us to kind of keep things safe and get everything all together as well, which is super nice. So I think it's a word you should write down. Encapsulation's I don't think it's a tough concept. And again, it just describes this idea of wrapping data methods into one unit. And again, I think it's good to know also that it might make you sound cool if someone's asking you about, these things, ask you about encapsulation or something. You can, say a little, it's like a black box, because that is also how people refer
These
to
terms were so foreign to me. Like in college.
I know, that's what I'm like this
so
one didn't make
hard,
any sense. Like I was like, I don't understand. Like it seemed like this big giant thing. But it is a thing. It is bigger. Encapsulation is bigger than the words that are on the screen right now. The utilizing the concept of encapsulation when approaching your code and developing your code. Again, it's a way for you to do exactly what it says below. Again, restrict access to certain things, but it's a tool in your toolbox to be able to get certain things done. And it's a concept you should know about, because maybe you're trying to access something and can't figure out why you can't access it, and you don't know because it's encapsulated within this class, it's instance. It's probably so it is something that's important to know. But again, it's not a crazy difficult concept to understand. It makes more sense as you get further along and you have situations where you need to identify things that need to be encapsulated or perform encapsulation, and you'll do that again just by writing a class, but just understanding what that is. All right, first thing, we're actually going to move through these pretty fast. There's only 4. We'll move through these pretty quick. Abstraction. So I don't know if this is an abstract GIF on the right. I typed in abstract and I thought I was going to get some sweet abstract paintings, but instead I got kaleidoscopes, which I guess is abstract, but cool. Abstraction means hiding the complexity and only showing the essential features of the object. So that can be a little bit confusing, but abstraction means pulling away all the difficult things, all the complexity, and it's still there, it's still underlying, but creating an interface around it so that the object, the part that you see in the object, that you utilize in the object, is only kind of showing you the easy part. It's hiding away all of the hard stuff. So in a way, abstraction means hiding the real implementation, and we as a user knowing only how to use it. So you only know how to use it, you don't know how it is implemented. A real world example will be a vehicle in which we drive without caring or knowing what all is going on underneath. So basically that's a reference to the car that you drive every day, if you still drive an internal combustion engine vehicle, so not a Tesla or any kind of electric car. But a lot of people don't understand what happens when you put your foot on the gas pedal. The inner workings of the car have been abstracted away from you. So you don't realize that when you put your foot on the gas pedal, that all it's really doing is opening up, some airways for more air to be sucked into your engine, because your engine is just a giant air pump, and that air then gets sucked in and mixed with some gas in a chamber, and then they get ignited, which pushes down a piston, and that piston turns a crankshaft, and that crankshaft turns a flywheel, and that flywheel turns your transmission, and transmission turns your wheels. Like, you don't, all those things are pulled away from you. You don't care how it works. You know that I gotta press this gas pedal and it will go. That's exactly what abstraction is. It is hiding this underlying logic, pulling away from the object, and the interface, the thing that you provide for someone to use in the object, is very simple, and all you know how to do is to use that. And maybe I should have written a good example of this. Let's Google, see if there's a good example that we can kind of run through and explain. And we'll try to look for one in Python. Abstraction. Abstract class. So abstract classes are a whole, I mean, they're absolutely part of this topic. I didn't want to dive into directly abstract classes. But that is what they're talking about. There's also another layer of abstraction you can do. But let's see if we can take a look at, let's see if there's a decent example here. Abstract method, polygon, triangle takes a polygon, pentagon takes a polygon, hexagon takes a polygon, quadrilateral takes a polygon. Okay. Yes.
I don't know if that's a good.
It's not a good example. Yeah. Abstract base. This is more of a abstract base classwork. Yeah.
So overrode that method a bunch of times. Like,
well, yes. We're gonna talk about this. We're gonna talk about this in a second. There's a lot of inheritance, and we're gonna talk about that in a second as well.
Yeah, they actually don't.
What's up, AMM79? Also, what's up, Lizandro23? Actually, that's a good. I'm glad you both just followed. I'm going into Twitch right now and removing this 10-minute rule because I keep forgetting. So that people can actually chat when they want to chat. I think that's important. What's up, SFDY? Welcome to the channel. Thank you for the follow. Let me go ahead and let you chat right now, or see if I can figure out how to let you chat. Whoa, Buck Thrustwell, what's going on right here? Am I getting what's happening?
Getting blown up, son.
I like this. The follow train. Keep coming with the follow train. I like it. Settings. Whoa, fizzing. I'm impressed. I don't know what's happening right now. How do I disable? I don't actually know what I'm doing.
I was gonna say, yo, you going in there like you?
No. I'm security and privacy. That feels right.
Channel and videos, maybe. Is this something you can disable?
Yeah. I don't know. Let me see. Is Twitch Prime? Twitch Prime is still a thing. It's definitely a thing. Moderation. Here we go. Followers only mode off. Or any followers, not off. Any followers. How do I save this? All right, so everyone should be able to chat now, I believe. I'll leave it on. Hopefully anyone can chat. So we did fix that. Encapsulation also happens in network layers like OSI model. That is true. That is definitely true. Also, transport encapsulation happens for all that, letting multiple protocols, not just Ethernet, traveling down. Y'all are too smart. I hate network stuff. When you say the word Ethernet, I'm like, ugh, I'm not listening to what you're saying anymore, because I don't like the internet and the way networks work at all. Even though it runs everything that we're doing now.
Literally everything.
DoorDash is encapsulation for fast food. Yeah, that's interesting.
Yes.
DoorDash is. You are right. We're going to be doing generics as well. We're not going to be doing generics, not tonight at least. I think there's a case for generics in one of the projects. 88 over test. What did you you unfollowed? Oh, is everyone unfollowing and refollowing now? BS Colero, welcome. Thank you. Hopefully you should be able to chat, but cool. Let me keep going. I'm not gonna go into abstract class because I think let me go through this last bit, and then maybe some time to go through. There's only one. Well, that's 2 or 3. Encapsulation, abstraction. So again, this is just abstracting the difficult stuff away from the object and only exposing in the object the thing that you know how to use. Then we have inheritance. So inheritance, just like the GIF over here, it allows you to define a class that inherits all the methods and properties from another class. So you can take one class and you can basically have another class that you write over here that accepts all of the properties and methods, those functions, those variables that are written in this other class. And so you can utilize that. Parent class is the class being inherited from, it's also called the base class. And that's what is happening in the example. Let me pull this out. Let's take this to the top. The example that they had in here, see how they set up a class here called Polygon. It actually takes another class, but imagine that it didn't. So we just have this little, this is the whole class right here. Imagine it didn't take anything. But down here, we have another class triangle that's taking Polygon. So actually let's write, let's extend our class to have a, let's create a child class. Actually, let's read all the words. Child class is the class that inherits from another class, and it's also called the derived class. So again, these are just some words to add to your belt. You've got the parent class, which is also called the base class. You've also got the child class, which is also called the derived class. And again, think about this just like real life. Generally, you as the child or the child is inheriting things from the parents usually, or the grandparents or whatever, and the child usually inherits from the parent. So yes, so the child will be getting all of the stuff that the parent had. So we can extend our first class, and let's delete. I'm gonna delete everything that's down here for now. We have the class called car. And then maybe we're gonna have a class, that's the parent class. Maybe we can have a class called supercar. I don't know. I have no idea what I'm gonna do with this yet. But what else could accept a car besides the supercar?
What else could accept a car?
Like we could
Supercar, car.
like it just seems like a all right, fine. Or maybe you could have a garage that accepts a car. Maybe I don't know. This is fine. A new class called supercar, and I could really just do a pass here. And if I just did a pass here, I'll basically be able to still do something like my car, and I would equals, and this time I could use supercar instead, but I could still pass in all the stuff that I passed in before. So I could still pass in things like red. I could still pass in things like, what's the make? Actually, let's gonna make this one a blue Ford. Make this a Mustang.
There we go. 67.
Actually, it's still a Mustang. We'll make this a GT350. I don't know. You said 67?
67.
I have no idea if that is.
That's okay.
Actually, we're not even gonna put. We're gonna put 67.
Hey.
Yeah. And what else do we need? Horsepower. 67 probably had like no horsepower, so like 186.
You think so?
That feels right.
Wow.
Those cars were slow, man.
They released in the 200s, no?
Maybe. What's up, Rob did a thing. You did do a thing by following. Welcome. Thank you for the follow. All right, so basically we have, what is this called? This is called the parent class. This is the class that's going to be inherited. It's going to pass itself down to the child, basically. And this down here is going to be this. So this is the base class, and this is going to be the child class or the derived class. And right here, you can see that I'm putting in here in the definition of the class that it takes a car. It takes car, so it takes the class car, but it doesn't really do anything. So we can Really?
306 horsepower.
Well, whatever. Okay, fine. I'll change it. Dang.
Yo, I don't know why I
Just
care so
relax. Dang, 306 horsepower. Fine. That was wrong. Okay. So then I could do something like print my car dot horsepower, since we changed it. And we should in fact get 306, which is interesting because we are actually we've actually created an instance of supercar. We have not created an instance of car, but supercar inherits all the things that are in here, all the properties, all of the methods that are in here. But you can also extend this as well if you needed to. You could also do it a whole other init function if you want. And if you need to pass in more things, I mean, this is a little. I don't know. I try not to do this. But you can say, all right, I'm still taking self, but also taking what does a supercar have? Brand. No, because this is obviously not. How about it takes a supercar, which is we're gonna make our GT350 a supercar, so we're gonna say supercar is gonna have a superpower. I don't know why doesn't make any sense. We're living off in the fantasy world right now. And we're gonna call self dot superpower. Is it gonna be equal to superpower?
Hey.
And so maybe our superpower that we pass in here is going to be
light.
That's what I was thinking, man.
Come on.
Is our superpower for our GT350 is flight. So this class up here does not actually take a superpower. It doesn't take anything extra than this, but this one does. So it's now been extended to accept another option, which can be confusing sometimes because you got to look back at the class that you're inheriting to know how much stuff you got to pass in, which can be a little confusing, actually. Flight, and we want to know superpower. We're gonna put the superpower instead. 2 positional arguments, but 7 given. I need to do. Wait. I know what to do here. That is not what we do. 2 arguments, but 7 given. I gave it 7, which should have. Does this not extend? It takes in self, right? Oh, it's not self. That superpower. Yeah, it is. Is this in itself? That's superpower. What is the error? It takes 2 positional arguments, but 7 are given. Do I have to create another? How do you extend this? Let's Google it real quick. I thought that's how you did it, but let's Google it. Python extend extend child class. I just want to see. I have to create a car and pass it in as the first. Oh, yeah. Well, yes, I know you can do that, but I'm pretty sure in Python 3, you can also have the derived class take all of the parameters. Pretty sure you can have it take all the parameters of the parent class. So like child classes here. Child fish, pass, Terry. I guess not. I really thought self. See the clownfish, just Casey. Okay, I guess so. Overriding parent methods. Fish.py, shark takes fish. You can do self. Shark. Yeah. Okay. Okay.
What's it code?
Let me see. You have to create a car and pass it in. Hold on. Since when is abstract classes abstraction? Isn't that inheritance? Well, I don't know what you're asking here. Since when is abstract classes? No, abstract. So I'm saying that in abstract classes, you can create levels of abstraction using abstract classes. There are multiple ways to create abstraction. to basically just pull that functionality away from the interfaced piece of the object. Abstract classes are not abstraction, but you can use inheritance. You can use abstraction. You can use abstract classes to create layers of abstraction. To create abstraction. Class, parent class. The supercar extends car and gets access to install mods. Yes, it does get access to. Hold on, let's see. I'm confused actually. My car.
It's complaining about line 21, right?
No. Yes. Oh. No. Supercar does takes car. That, so I would have to pass in
actual object.
I really thought you could extend. I'm pretty sure there's a way to extend these. I could be completely wrong. And I might be thinking about there are ways to there's a ways to kind of not inherit, but there's a way to, I think I might be thinking of how you modify structs in Go. Maybe thinking how you modify structs and Go. Let's see, fish.py. Huh?
There's many programming languages in your head.
Not really. At least this isn't in JavaScript. Ooh, eyes burning. Class trout fish. It takes the fish, passes, calls trout, which takes a name, but that's what the pass. Are there any of these they're extending? The clownfish extends, takes a fish, clownfish, still only, but they didn't extend the self in the init. That's fine. If I would have just added a class, I could have just called the class, but not an overriding. I think this is what I'm trying to do, is trying to override. Okay, so shark now takes in still fish. Still just takes in the only self thing. Shark Sammy. I'm confused here. Oh, Shark Sammy, because he's passing in self, and he's only passing in first name because his default last name, a skeleton, that's true. And last name. What's up, Chris Cole? Welcome. Sorry, my eyes are burning.
Now too.
My glasses messing with my eyes.
Screen, man.
Nah, it's late. It's late. Your boy got up early. All right, I don't know what I'm doing. Let me see. But I don't know. Python has the concept to truly extract class. Self is an implied argument. You don't actually pass it. Python, yes. So Python, so self. So yes, self. I'm not passing. I'm confused if you're saying I'm passing self. You don't need to call supercar ram init to initialize the parent. Man, I don't know what y'all talking about.
Yo, I love that.
Are you saying I don't need to? Are you saying I don't need to? Like, so you never pass in self, so self's not passed in, but
oh snap!
I've done this before. Like, not this exact thing, but like I'm pretty sure.
I would be teaching y'all Go.
I know. I taught y'all Go. You should have joined the. Nah, I'm just messing around.
Oh.
This is fine. This is also why objects can be a little bit weird. Take some time to understand. The concepts. This is the concept. We're gonna fix this in a second. Don't sweat it. The concepts that we're learning right now. This is gonna be applicable to also other things like JavaScript. There's a lot of language you can that have classes like this. You're in Java, if you're using Java as well. These concepts apply to those things. You can take these, you can take the same concepts of the 4 pillars, you can take the same concepts of, you know, instantiation, class variables versus instance variables, things like that. And those things do apply. So if you're learning another language besides Python, you can apply these things to those things. Go necessarily doesn't have these things. I think you need to call super param1 param2 init. Oh, are you sure? So it takes field, then it takes ABC, but then how are they doing it? Background.
Kind of what you did.
That's what they did. That's what I did. ABC equals 1, 2, 3. Yeah. We found an example. Let's see. No, you don't. So the problem here is that your constructor only takes 1 param, which is superpower, right? You're passing 6 on line 21, but it should. So I hear you. So I could do this, but it also, okay, so sure, I can do that. Let's do this real quick. I hear you. I hear where you're going. I think I hear where you're going. So I need to first initialize the car first, which I don't think you need to do because that's what this is for, but I could say my car equals supercar. And self is the instance itself. And we can still pass in something like flight. And print. Okay. So yes, obviously that will work. But and I said the example we just looked at that he just pulled up, can you send that to me like in or would you Google? Yeah, let's paste this in Twitch real quick. I mean, so I agree with you. But you should be able to just extend the one that's up top. And let's take a look at copy this link. And maybe I'm close. All right, so Python overriding inherited class methods. Oh, actually, this might be because they're overriding the, this one might be a little bit different actually. So I have field, I have 2 classes, field and background. They look a bit like this. Hold on, actually, what's the answer? Coming from a C. And expecting dealing with attribute. Okay, so let's just look at what he wants to have. So this class field, init takes self, A and B, so it takes 2 items set here. But it takes background, which takes field. So this class inherits this class, which inherits this class. A, B, and C. Yeah, okay. I thought I didn't think you needed to include all of these in here, but that's fine. That's whack. I think there's a language that does not. There's got to be a language that doesn't. Well, it doesn't have to be. In my mind, there's a language that does not do. Like you're saying, I have to actually take all of the inits and. I mean, all of the arguments and put them here. That feels.
No, you shouldn't have to do that.
I'm glad I'm the only person who's like,
I mean, we could both be wrong, but
we could certainly both be wrong. I mean, it seems like we're wrong. I have no problem being wrong. Calling super is pretty standard for constructor. Yeah, yes. So yes, I could call super. But
they do call super in that example.
They do. Hold on, what was the answer there? Oh, so what I still need to, but I wouldn't need to, I have to take these in the initiation, but I don't also need to define them. Okay. Okay. I think even without super, there's another way to do this, but Again, I might be tripping, or I might be thinking of some weird situation. Let me just make sure I have like color or something in here. It has no attribute color, so it's not because I didn't set it here. I shouldn't have to set it here. And I guess maybe I do have to create an actual instance of the car and then pipe it through supercar. Is that the problem? Like if I take all this out and I create an instance of car, maybe I'm just messing with the order, not thinking about the order right, but do something like my car equals car. Actually, delete this line. My car equals car. Without flight. And then does super my car equals supercar supercar my car. Actually, no, that doesn't make any sense because it doesn't make any sense. Because then I can't pass in. I can't like do this. That's fine. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'm just tripping. I could be tripping. I was sure about this actually. Yeah, I could use super. I didn't want to introduce the super in itself yet, but yes, I do know that works. For sure, I do know that.
Change it to supercar. That's super my car. On the
on the. But I still don't think this will work.
Still won't work.
I don't think so. This is me just being in my head. Takes 2, 3 were given. Yeah. All right. All good. Not a big deal. Messing around. I'm gonna figure out what at least I was thinking of. That's what's gonna frustrate me. I don't care if I'm right or wrong. I care about figuring out what it is that I'm actually thinking of. But yeah, you create supercar init by using super init and passing the values the parent takes. You can create it in the supercar init by using super init. Yeah, by using super. Yeah, I know that. I definitely know that. How about you drop it in both methods? I could do that too. Yes, you can do that. No, when you're in the class that inherits, you call the keyword super to invoke the parent class constructor. Okay. All right. I'm not fighting that at all. I'm trying to figure out what I'm thinking. I'm thinking of something very specific. I'm trying to remember what I'm getting this mixed up with then. But yes, we're not gonna, I didn't want to go over super constructor tonight because we're actually going to be doing, we're going to be going over some more construction stuff tomorrow. Or not tomorrow, on Wednesday, when we're actually getting into really actually building. I have like some challenges and some actual use cases around these things. I just want to kind of get everyone introduced to classes tonight. A GTO, a class that holds the attributes relating to the general car. Maybe I am. I don't know. New might work that way. I'm not sure, but I don't think new is what I'm thinking of. Maybe you're thinking of composition instead of extension. Possibly. I don't know. I'll figure it out, and I'm gonna tweet it out. When I figure it out, it's gonna pop into my head, and like in the shower or at the gym, I'm like, it's this. Like, this is what I was thinking of, and I'm gonna have to tell somebody. So I'm gonna tell Terrence first. I'm gonna text Terrence so he can remember for me.
Okay.
But I'll tweet it out or something. I'll talk about it in one of the things. But all good. I think that's some good conversation around. I think that's some good conversation around classes. And I also think that's some good just kind of messing around to see what works and what doesn't work. Seeing that you can't just extend it using the default init constructor. This kind of the base level of classes. So what is important to know that with the stuff that we just did, this doesn't actually work. So I'm not going to push. I'll remove this and I'll leave the pass here just so that this makes a little more sense for the first go around. And we'll put super back here. And we'll delete this. Make a little more sense here. So this should print out blue, which it does. All right, cool. So we set that back to normal. Again, the last thing we were just trying to talk about is, again, inheritance. Super important, pretty important. And again, that is you having a parent or a base class that can inherit that a child can inherit, or you can call it a derived class. I never call it a derived class. But again, these are all things. Write these things down. These are things that make you sound like you know what you're talking about on an interview. But that is, like understanding that concept, those differences are just as important as you understanding how to actually implement them and use them. So I would take your time and do that. Yes. That is okay. Yes. Thank you. Yes. Named arguments, and just providing the value, in there. And that would do it. That would do it. Named arguments is exactly what I was thinking of. Thank you. You guys are the extension of my own brain. I appreciate it. I do appreciate it. That is exactly what I was thinking of. That is how I've seen it done, I believe. That's what I'm thinking of. Which again, it's not a class thing in particular. It's a function. It's a function thing. I think that's why I was getting a little confused about it. But thank you. Like, I feel better. I feel like I was still thinking. I was like, what am I thinking about? But this will happen many other times. This is going to happen if you're watching the DevOps Bootcamp. This is about to happen a lot, because we're getting into all the different things that use their own domain-specific languages or weird variations of YAML. So you're going to be seeing a lot of that here, especially between like the Ansible stuff that we're going to do and Docker files and all the other stuff. You're going to see me putting some weird stuff in weird places, and having to refer to documentation. Because again, you mess with enough technologies, the documentation becomes your friend. Just because no need to memorize. You never know when you're going to touch everything. But yeah. This is the entire program.yaml. Yes, that also a shirt idea. But yeah, YAML's great. But yes. So takeaways for tonight, tangible takeaways for tonight. Again, we're early. I'm gonna stick around. We're gonna mess around some more, ask some questions. But just the tangible takeaways for part 1 of classes. And again, this is why I broke it up. The reason I broke it up this way is because I think everyone should go play with classes, go find some examples online, go find, like, mess around, learn the quirks of classes, learn the different rules for classes, because they are important, especially in object-oriented programming language. Learning how to leverage object-oriented programming really helps. And again, you'll see this. You'll see how much it helps, both in the next class as well as the first project we're gonna do, which is again Blackjack. Again, it's gonna be really good. I'm gonna give you the sub files for that. We'll go ahead and we'll fill in our classes for that. Let's see, where are we at? Yeah, so we're here. Very simple. This is all we want to go on tonight. Again, more on classes was going to be things like those additional constructors, things like super. There's a few other, there's no more pillars, but there are a few other concepts with classes that we'll just run over. But we'll spend most of the time just just take a data ingest, but we'll actually be using classes to move data around, and to do exactly what we're doing tonight, but like for a goal, like having a start and a finish. So don't trip. We'll definitely get to more of that stuff. And then when we actually get to our algorithms here on March 2nd, the algorithms part 3, the algorithms that we're going to do are going to be not best, but it'll benefit us to use classes to be able to solve the things that we're going to do here. Or even if it's not best, we're going to utilize classes to solve the algorithms that we're going to do on March 2nd. So we'll get a little bit of buffer time before these capstone projects that we're going to hop into. So let's make CDD a thing. Chat-driven development. I love it.
Yes.
I mean, I'm not driving. You're driving.
Chat-driven development.
Chat-driven development. Not a terrible concept. It's a pretty bad concept, but it sounds fun. It does sound fun. Because it's interesting because in the chat you can't type in what you want. I wish actually maybe if we push to Twitch enough, if we tweet them enough, do all that stuff, maybe we can maybe they'll put in a feature where you can put code blocks right into the Twitch chat. That would be cool. That would be really cool. What's up, Montreal Crisley? Welcome. Thank you. Thanks for following. Welcome to the channel. That would be amazing. I really think it will be fun. I've seriously been dreaming kind of big, like figuring out what to do when, again, Mastermind will one day be bigger than, like I'll have to, part of this program that I'm in, I'll have to be full-time, but again, Mastermind's bigger than just the Academy. Even though the Academy is my favorite piece, don't tell anyone I said that. This is what I love to do. It's fun being on with you guys.
It's obvious. It's obvious.
Yeah, this is the fun piece. But I've been thinking of all the cool stuff I'll have time to do when I don't have a day job. And Twitch's APIs have gotten way more robust over the past few years, and there's a lot of ideas I have running through my head about stuff we could build, because a lot of people do it. A lot of live coders do a lot of work, utilizing Twitch's APIs to build cool things for the streams. But I think we could build some really useful things, again, like maybe a place to pass in code snippets, maybe in Slack, and those code snippets actually get sent in a well-formatted way into the Twitch chat. I don't know. There'll be some weird stuff there, but I think we could figure some cool stuff out. Definitely figure some stuff out.
Like that.
We could do it ourselves. It's just not. Is it really? I didn't know that. It's an IRC protocol. Cool. I'm cool with that. Oh yeah. The special characters / will get stripped. It's possible to do a side project as DevOps. That's a good question. First off, on your screen, for some reason, on my screen, your name is like in black. Oh, it's Montreal. Okay, I couldn't see whose name that was. Yes. It is absolutely possible to do some DevOps side projects. I think they're a little harder because you can't really it's hard to do passion projects, because the stuff that you're going to be doing is, I don't know, it's hard to do what I would consider to be a passion project. Like you don't have the freedom that you would have with software development. But absolutely, I think some of the original projects I started was when I first got into configuration management with Puppet, and I just learned, basically, I took everything I was doing at work, and went home and set up Puppet to be able to deploy everything, and that was fun. And then I Dockerized a bunch of applications that I liked, that I was actually using, that I was helping people host their websites with and things. So I started Dockerizing that stuff and writing Docker files for stuff like that. You can definitely do side projects. If you're talking about side work, there's a lot of side work for DevOps, like consulting and stuff. There's absolutely tons of side work for that. But the problem I find for DevOps is that a lot of people are using DevOps as the new age systems administrator. And so people who are doing that, be careful when you're contracting with them, because you end up becoming their own call. You can end up becoming their own call person, which kind of sucks. If you're okay with that, great. But just something to be wary of. Yep. I want to work for a startup, but they're looking for a full stack developer who can also work as DevOps. So I have some interesting. I can't wait until our panels at the end of March. I have a lot of questions and thoughts about I think there's a melding, there's a combining of and there's a change of what I think full stack truly means now, and I think I think that's why people are looking for full stack who can also work as DevOps. Like
in there all of a sudden.
everyone's just engineers. Like I think we'll get to a point where, for the most part, like you will need to understand. Like there will be specialty engineers, obviously, but like I think there'll be a point where you have to understand. Like, well, it'll be expected that you understand at least the high level concepts from across the software development lifecycle, and like how to do certain things, both how to create code, how to manage code, how to deploy code, how it runs in the web, how it runs on top of infrastructure. I think that'll be it's interesting the way those things are going. I think that's what people are going to start to expect. But I would apply for it anyway. I don't care. I don't care if you don't know one or the other. Like I would apply for it. I would apply for everything. People are always, again, these are buzzword things. What does that even mean? What is that? A full stack developer who can also work as DevOps? I mean, does that just mean you want me to set up some CI pipelines? Like, cool. I can set up some YAML if I need to, or I don't know. It's check out what that means.
That lead to less or more jobs? If I can do DevOps and development,
more jobs for sure.
Yeah,
it's right now you are playing the buzzword. You're trying to collect as many buzzwords as possible, or at least be able to speak intelligently about as many buzzwords as possible, which sucks. But that's the industry. Again, focus on the concept. If you focus on the concepts, you'll be able to talk about those things, like understanding what problems different things solve, understanding, how to speak about the things that you know about, even if it's just about specific coding language, specific tool, or high level. It's very important to be able to do that. Yeah, it's super important to be able to do that. There's a meme floating that shows a job listing for every conceivable IT. Yeah, and Dev Technology is a full stack developer with the caption, know what you want as an entire, yes, that's true. And that is the goal. That is one of the biggest, Rod did the thing. That's one of the biggest things. So we also do talent management and recruiting and placement. But the catch here is that, like, we work with companies to, like, we are boots on the ground engineers. Let's talk about what you really need, so you can find. A lot of companies don't find people who are great for them because they stuck out a job description that had 30,000 things on it, 75% of which they have never touched or plan on touching, and another 50% of that of things that they're not proficient at, that they want someone to be kind of proficient at, so maybe they can touch it. And so, like, I really want to start doing studies on how many qualified people or people who can do the job for you drive away by just sticking out a job description that stops people from applying because you asked for everything when you need this many things, but you asked for everything. So doing a bit of consulting on that end is also what we're doing. Nah, man, it is. It's so hard to find a job. It can be hard. It can absolutely be hard to find a job. Just because nowadays people are looking for more and more.
I'm curious to know what the hardest thing is to find those jobs. Like, what do they think is the hardest thing?
Yeah, I'll be interested on some specifics. What do you think is the hardest thing you're coming across? Are you coming across not getting callbacks at all? Are you coming across not getting callbacks after the initial phone screen? Yeah. What's up, Don't You Wish? Thank you for the follow. Welcome to the channel. Can you be more specific about that? Maybe we can dive into that. I think that's really important. Full stack, lift and shift DevOps, automation engineer, and test. Yes, yes, I'll apply for that. Go ahead, because then that likely means I'm gonna get to do one of those things and be lazy the rest of the time. So I'm cool with that. And if you put all that stuff in my title, if I'm a full stack, lift and shift, DevOps, automation engineer, and test, you got to give me a lot of money. Yes. Like, you put all the words, the more buzzwords, you got to give me money equal to these buzzwords. That's how I feel, at least. A person doing two jobs. Yeah. So yes, the person doing two jobs thing is I have a different perspective, just because of where I find, and again, this may be, I may break the internet with this. This may be very controversial. I'm sorry about this. For all of you, we are on the Python day. That's all of you software engineers out here. I have found that that people who have learned to write software do feel like this is an entirely, like, learning the other aspects of, like, how to infrastructure and how to run that code, feel like this is a different job. This is a different skill set.
I definitely feel that way.
Yes. And so that's interesting. That's very interesting. So again, a little bit of background to me saying that is I joined the project that I'm on now as a pure DevOps engineer. I was the infrastructure person on the project that I'm on now. Things kind of went on. I didn't really write any of the software. I wrote the automation. Our technical lead left. I was fortunate enough to be moved into that position, and I had to quickly kind of get up to speed on the software development side of things. I know how to write code. I've been, I write a lot of code, but not specifically application development. So the paradigm was a bit different from the things that I have been doing. And what I immediately learned is I would participate in that. And like, to me, it was all like, that's like, again, I think it's perspective, like being a DevOps engineer, like feeling like I always felt like I was a part of the entire process. Like it was all my domain, all supposed to be my domain. Man, when we try to be cross-functional, people were really like, nah, man, that's DevOps work right there. It's like, they're like, yo, can you update this build? Can you update the Circle CI build? And I was like, I don't know. That's DevOps. That was a very interesting first,
I love the opinion on this topic. Actually.
Nah, 100%. Go for it.
So definitely, like, that is actual fact. And for me personally, as a developer, I feel when I was going through school, you just learn about one discipline, about how to actually write software effectively. And so it goes back to what you said. DevOps is something relatively new. The way things are now, it was like a system admin role. It was a lot of other things that you guys took care of. And now they're saying, oh, if you're a developer, you should also do this other job title. And some of it is just pushback because we as devs don't want to learn new stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? If it's totally outside of the software engineering type, me sitting in front of a computer and coding. So it's a little pushback on from us, but also I feel like they kind of just like took the rug from under our feet, man. It's like, oh, now you gotta know all this other stuff. And I'm like, and we don't get any extra money. So really, I really got a problem with it. You know what I mean?
I actually completely understand that. What's funny is like they've basically the tools and the things have been made. They've been manufactured for developers to be able to do things more easily. So like it's funny because like it's like now like the stuff is like even with Terraform last night, or like we're ready to go to Ansible, like those paradigms it's such a good software, like I think coming from a software background, I genuinely, I say all these things, but I genuinely think people with software backgrounds make better DevOps engineers because of the way that you already think about solving problems with code, that systems administrators who are solving these same problems you're not thinking about this as a code problem. You're trying to solve an operations problem, thinking with an operations mindset, using the code to come to the same solution you'd have came to by hand. So I genuinely.
Did you come from a code background?
No, I came from a pure ops background. Huh?
Do you feel like you'd have been better coming from a code background?
I think that I'm good now because I followed behind, like with the people who mentored me were people who were software devs who went infrastructure, who kind of helped me understand the like I had to change my mindset. Like I had to change my mindset for sure. Project Mastermind, swag builder. I like that.
Swag builder.
Swag
we gotta
builder.
Swag,
we gotta give him a swag. We gotta give him a swag.
We gotta get that merch.
Remediation and now Net DevOps, which I feel is harder than regular DevOps. I do, in fact, think Net DevOps is harder. I think networking period is. I think the networking world is a different animal. Like I really do. I think it's a different animal. Yeah. And I like using interesting ego. DevOps equals sysadmin plus whatever they can throw at it. So again, I think this is general. I do think that's the general consensus is companies are like, all right, we need a sysadmin who knows some automation and whatever. You also are the catch-all for things. But there are a lot of organizations where the DevOps engineers are the people focused on supporting the developer. Like that is the ultimate goal. It's supposed to be the goal of DevOps as opposed to like SREing. It's supposed to be, helping the developers develop as fast as they want to, helping them get code out to production, setting up those pipelines, abstracting away, certain functions, creating tools, things like that, for them to be able to create code as fast as possible. And being a part of that process, creating, feedback loops and observability and all that other stuff. That's all. But a lot of places you are just a sysadmin. Good sysadmin is greater than a good developer. I do, in fact, agree with that. And that's not just me. That's not just me doing like being a old sysadmin. A good sysadmin is because I think the problems that you had to have faced to be a good sysadmin are greater than the problems that you had to face to be a good developer. And the pressure is, and there's a pressure aspect.
I feel like if your code's not working as a developer, everything stops. Like
it never goes to prod.
I just feels like, yeah, but if they have a deadline and the client and the customer is expecting this feature to be out on this website or this API or whatever next week, and you can't deliver, everybody's gonna be looking at you.
Same thing as if you deliver. It's the same pressure, but like y'all not getting called in the middle of the night.
We're not getting called in the middle of the night.
Like I don't know.
That's true.
Like that'd be the thing. I'm like, man, call one of the. This is a code problem. Like, so no, that's bad DevOps mindset. That's not true.
That's true though. Y'all get called for everything. Even if it is a code problem.
It's what you just catch all. Like this is like I think this has to do with the word, even the word systems administrator. Like the system's not doing exactly what we wanted. Yeah. Like, hey, these are your systems. Like, nah, bro, this is a team. This is a team, man. This is a team. Okay. All right. So, but again, that's why I love infrastructure as code. We did Terraform last night. That's why I love stuff like that, because it makes life so much better. Also, it means that I can now, it now makes infrastructure approachable also to devs. Like if I can say, yo, here is our CloudFormation code. Take a look at these files. They basically are describing this thing. I can you can figure out if I needed to tell you to allocate more memory to something manually, you'd be like, bruh, I don't even know what you're talking about. But if I'm like, hey, this file is a bunch of key value, like it's a bunch of key value pairs, and in here is a statement for memory. Can you go in here and figure out how to do that? And like oh yeah, like I've seen JSON a million times. I've seen YAML. Like oh, it obviously says memory right here.
If you lay it out for me, I will. Like I get it. Like I'll do it. But you have to lay it out for me. You can't just send me off in the fire and be like, just go figure it out, because I'm gonna look at you. And
so I also have learned, and again, this is all a good conversation for the panel. I've also learned that because sysadmins are usually dealing with crap, that sysadmins are way less averse to like we're much less risk averse. Like devs are like, if you're like, I don't understand, I almost won't do this. Like problem comes up, or like something we're supposed to do. If like the details aren't really laid out, if there's some ambiguity. Generally, and this is a general statement.
Those are great devs. I ain't like that.
No. Developers like I need to know more about this. And this used to be problematic for me all the time, because I would just be like, I have zero idea what I'm doing, but you said you need it done. Go ahead, give it to me. And I'll spend 2 weeks. I'm like, blow it up. I still don't know what's going on. And they're like, you said you could do it. I'm like, I said that I would give it my all. I was confident that I could figure this out.
I love it.
And they were like, what's going on? Yeah, my Google food is strong, but sometimes, man, I would be struggling. But like, I was so much less risk averse. Like I would never even question it. I would be like, if it can be done, I'm gonna try to do it. And you're like, oh, it needs to be done by this time. Like, if it needs to be done, I gotta try it.
I think that's an engineering thing. I think that's the difference between an engineer who is, good, worth their weight. You know what I mean? And as opposed to, an engineer who probably doesn't want to try different things. And I will say this. Sometimes doing those things that you don't know, it stretches you, and it's actually fun, because what happens when you figure it out? Then your confidence goes up, and then you feel like you can do anything. You know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%. I like the blame game situation. Yeah, when it's bad code, yeah, versus bad infrastructure. 100%. I'm glad at least where I've been at for the past. I've been here for 3.5 years. That has not been a thing. Like we really do practice like blameless postmortems, and and all kinds of like, it's never been like, oh, this isn't working, code's bad, and devs, what are you doing? Infrastructure's bad, what are you doing? Like, it's like, hey, this thing isn't working, what can we do? Like, everyone, what can we do to solve this problem? Let's dig into it, see if it, see what the root cause is, and let's see if there's a way to mitigate it. It's been great. Culture. It like it really helps a lot. Like, I'm never afraid to make a big mistake. Like, where other places, that was not the case. But also, like, again, as a sysadmin, so I used to work at ZeniMax Media, running the servers for Elder Scrolls Online. And one night we were doing a maintenance. And I was supposed to be doing European maintenance on the EU servers. And whoa. I'm going through it. Everything's going great. I'm like, I'm the man. I'm doing this maintenance. I've been there for a couple months. And somebody walks into the room and is like, yeah, so everyone from the US servers has been like, there's 0 players on the US servers. And I was like, oh, that's wild. Like, there's 0 on the European servers too, because I'm patching these bad boys. And they were like, did you lock the wrong servers? And I was like, nah, bro, I'm killing the game. I'm running through this. I'm doing the maintenance. And then check the thing. It was like, yo, bro, you just locked out at peak time. At peak time, I like locked out like thousands and thousands of US players, like out of yeah, and like that's a big problem for game, like because now people are gonna log, like people just aren't gonna play right now, like all kinds of stuff, super weird, but like because like when you experience huge outages that affect companies and stuff, like you just get like, I don't know, like I don't get afraid. Like if someone tells me the site's down, I'm like, all right, well, let's get it back up.
In the grand scheme of things, it's like life is so much bigger.
Like, it's just like
the website's down. Okay,
it's like, all right,
a few hours.
If we're not hacked and our data's not gone, like we'll fix it. It's not. We'll get it back up. And nowadays, like with caching and all the great services we have, you can make sure your site. I haven't had knock on wood, haven't had an outage in years, literal years.
Further reading or what?
Where can we practice automation? Great question. You can practice automation in literally anything you do. I would actually start out doing things like automating daily things that you do on your computer. So even if it's just backing up something, that every day I make files that go into my documents folder, first creating an automation script that maybe moves it to a more permanent place on your computer, and then maybe pushes it up to S3 or Google Drive or something. And you can start with little things like that. Or find something, we're doing Python now. Python's great at like web scraping. Maybe you're into something specific and you want to check prices on something, but I would find something like on your local machine that you can start to do that applies to your daily life. Because it is hard to try to create some automation around a made up construct or made up, paradigm of something that you just want to do. So I would start there. And then after that, I would hop onto all of the big tools, provide different levels of tutorials on like automation paradigms and like different scenarios. I've been and try those things after, and that can help. But automation isn't really a special thing. Automation really is the automatic execution of tasks. So it doesn't need to be, everyone thinks automation needs to be this fancy thing. It can be a little bash script, and that counts as automation. Women's culture equals great engineering, 100%. You're spitting fire there.
I'm gonna find some references, some documents.
Yeah. It'll be a great, I think one of the best devs, great sysadmins or have been, would be a great sysadmin. You don't have to be a dev. I think that's very true. Actually, I think that's spot on. A good sysadmin knows how to script and code. Yeah, I agree. Well, I think in today's world, definitely a good sysadmin should know how to script. Again, scripting is programming and coding. Yeah. It is, but yes, I do agree with that nowadays. I think that the paradigm a few years ago, and I think there are places where that's not the case. Like there are a lot of people who still have to run the data centers, people who still have to, be be in that world where you're dealing with bare metal and things like that. I don't necessarily think you need to know how to code super well to be able to operate in that world. There's still levels of automation. There's still tools and things that you can use to really help you out with those things. But I do think everyone should be as well-rounded as possible. I think everyone in the tech industry should. I think everyone needs to start getting some level of coding and programming, like just the basics, just understanding the basic tools, like the variables, like up to loops. So basically, like really just like variables, like data types, like an up to loops, like comparison operators, stuff like that. Like basically, just getting a just like I think everyone should have a nice little handle,
understanding of what that's like.
just because software is eating the world. It really is.
It is.
And everything. Oh, like. If you know code, it will probably help you in any field that you're in the tech industry, to be 100% honest.
You got lucky. I feel like when I was going through school, I didn't know it was going to be what it is today in 2020.
Oh, our timing is impeccable.
I feel like I got lucky, bro. Super lucky. That's why I'm so passionate about it. Like right now, like it 100% is like, I know people talk about it like it's just so easy to get in the tech industry and stuff, and it's not hard.
It's not as hard as people think it is, but it's also not super easy. You do have to put in the time. It's something you have to fight for a bit, but I really do think everyone can get there just because there's so many jobs and the people like there's just. You can get there, and I think once you get there, like I think we're just in the time, like the timing of when we're alive right now, and the way that tech is kind of taken off across the world. Really, not even just here in America, but like there's so much opportunity. And what's crazy is I'm telling you, you don't even have to be good. You don't have to be good. You have to be sufficient.
You gotta be decent.
You have to be sufficient.
You think that's a bad thing to say that, or a
no?
Good thing?
Oh, bad thing to say it?
Yeah. To people like maybe trying to
get
into
in
the field. Yeah.
I think it's a great thing. I think you don't need to. I think one of the things that scares people out of real careers in tech, people start going down the path, go to a tough interview where the people didn't know how to interview and were trying to look for crazy skills that weren't necessary in the job, and you're like, oh crap, well, I do need to be amazing, I do need to be the best, and I don't have time to do that, or I don't have the energy to do that, and stop pursuing it when at that same skill level they could be perfect for another role somewhere else. Being sufficient won't get you any job anywhere, but there are 100% jobs out there that you can get being just sufficient. Yes. And people might think you're amazing for that company, for what they need at the time. You might be amazing, and you might become amazing on the job. So like, it's not, you need to be just good enough to get the job, and then you should work hard once you're there to really become great at it, to move on to the next one. Don't kill yourself. I'm a firm believer in like not killing yourself for the company. Like you should be growing for you. Don't just be working and doing grunt work because they want you to be there 12 hours a day. Watch that stuff. It's easy to do sometimes. But if you're enjoying it, if you're growing and you're learning, and that's a good way, like the stuff that you're working on is beneficial to you and it's teaching you new things, I say go for it, grind for it, but like also don't let them...
I would say something about this. So we gotta do those journeys, man, because when I first started, I went to a Navy contractor and I loved it, but I killed myself. I was working I was going crazy because when you first get out of college, you're so hungry and you want to do a good job or whatever. And I really killed myself, and they didn't really ask me to do that, but I kind of burned myself out.
Yep.
First 2.5, 3 years just doing that because, I don't know, you have this thing going out of college, not a chip on your shoulder, but you just really want to see. I think a little bit of it, you want to apply what you've learned those years and see, okay, can I really do this in the real world? But that's definitely good advice. I needed you to tell me that when I graduated, bro.
Well,
like, burnout is real. It's so real.
I got burned out in a different way.
I burned out in college a little bit too, bro.
I got burned out because that's true.
You gotta show that when you switch roles.
Yeah, you do. Yes, you do. You do. I burned myself out by not. So I wasn't working. Luckily I worked my first job. I worked a shift job, which was great. So like, got there at 7, off at 3. Great place, but I was working in Northern VA, lived in Baltimore, and traffic would be awful, and I had a stick shift.
4 hours.
So I brought in I brought in my Xbox. I would bring in my Xbox, and I would sit there at my desk playing Xbox. I would go get food. That's why I'm losing weight now, because I would go get food. I would come back. I would play Xbox until traffic died down, and I would go home.
That's actually smart.
Nah, man. Then you feel like you're at work. Like just being at work burned me out. Like just being in that building that long every day burn. I was like, well, watching TV.
So you would get in 7 and leave at 7, leave at 5, 6.
Leave it like
12
like 7 to
hours.
7.
And then you gotta drive.
And I gotta drive.
Yeah, that's like 14 hours.
I was like, I just can't live like this anymore. I applied for a full-time role. During an interview, I was asked for 7.5 hours a week contract, and they laughed at me.
Oh, nice. They actually hired you though.
That's awesome. That's awesome. That is great. I like that. 27.5 hour week. It sounds amazing.
That sounds sexy.
And so did you do that before? You waited until like the interviews were going well. I've always been interested in how people are negotiating things like that. I know how I've had success doing things like that, but I'm always interested in how other people are doing that. Struggling to get my first coding job now. Hey, everyone goes to that first struggle. Would definitely feel you on that one. Apply to everything. Literally apply to everything. I know everything's gonna be like, you need 5 years of experience, 7 years of experience. Apply to everything. Here's what happens when you apply to everything. You will get callbacks. You will absolutely crash and burn on some of the phone interviews. But you're gonna get some knowledge from those phone interviews. People are gonna ask you questions that like you're like, oh well, I don't know about that thing. Write it down. Like yes, it is uncomfortable. It takes some. It's hard. It hurts the first couple of times. Like going through that when you're really trying to get the job, and it does hurt. But write down things that they ask you that you had no idea about. Just go. I'm telling y'all, like the power of going to watch a YouTube video after. The way something sticks after you just failed, like blew an interview because you didn't know these things, like the way that it sticks when you go watch a YouTube video or read a thing about it, even if you don't fully understand the concept, just being able to recite something important about it really can get you a long way. I only saying that because I went through a period where I was just interviewing and I was getting wrecked. Like I basically, but here's what happened. I got cocky. I got my very first job ever through a recruiter. Yeah, first job ever. Me too, yeah. Thought it was the best job ever, but I was making 50. Whoa, rich boy. I was making $15 an hour. My first full-time tech job as a Linux administrator. Then I got promoted to a whopping $36,000 a year. Whoa. Thought I was balling. That's when I was driving to Northern VA playing the Xbox. Thought I was balling. 37 grand. It was super great. This was in like 2012, maybe 2013, 2013.
That's good money, man.
Not when you're driving to Northern VA.
Gas prices were a real thing back then. I remember.
Huh?
Gas prices were a real thing.
Yeah, and it's something. So sometimes you do got to put up with that. I also I didn't have a degree, so I was just like, man, look, just give me this job, so I'm not poor my whole life, because I was poor. I was like, I like tech. You're gonna tell me Linux? I was like dealing with Linux stuff, so that was exciting. So that was not my first job. We can talk about first jobs one day.
That wasn't my first.
That was my first tech job. My first job, I was supposed to be a summer student helper, but I was the oldest kid, so I was like a handyman. Like I built an office, I built stone paths, I did roofing. It was so weird. I got paid like less than minimum wage. It was like definitely illegal, but it was super weird. Wait, where are we going? What were we talking? We were just talking about something.
You were talking about your first job, and
why was I talking about my first job?
I don't know, what were we talking about?
I forgot. I was trying to. I was bringing up something very specific.
Exit device. Oh, watching YouTube videos. You got cocky.
I got cocky. I got cocky. Oh, because I got that job. The recruiter, it was the second people who had interviewed me, and the first people made me an offer as well. But the second one was closer, actually, even though it was really far away. But then I got the next place I interviewed at, I got the job and I doubled my salary. So I was like, I'm the man. I can do whatever I want. And during that time, I interviewed. I got that job, and I got like 3 other offers. Like I had interviewed 3 places and got 3 offers. Cool. I thought I was the man. I decided to interview again.
Whoa.
I started like trying to take this next step up. I could not get through like phone screens. I could not. I got a couple in-person interviews because I didn't do phone screens.
Yeah.
And when I tell you, I was like crashing and burning. They were like, oh, doing sysadmin stuff. They were like, yeah, so you say you got MySQL experience, you know, tell me a little bit about how to like, how would you set up, you know, a redundant MySQL cluster? And I'm like, hey, bro, I know that if you need to restart MySQL, it's etc init.d MySQL d restart, okay, sir? And that will fix 45% of your problems.
That's the funniest thing I've ever
It was like, hey, I mean, if your web server's not working, I probably can parse the logs.
My man just changed the question. I decided to start it.
And I just failed on all those. So I just started writing those things down. Like, it was like, dang, I really thought I was smart. And I was like, I really felt like I was like, I've reached the end of my career path. Like, I can't do anything else. I started writing stuff down. And then before I knew it, I'll be interviews like talking about stuff that I never did before, but because I did a little research on it, I was able to intelligently speak about it and actively say like, hey, yeah, I've never had the opportunity to set this thing up, but I do know this and this and this about it, and I've you know, it's been pretty interesting finding out about this and this, and I would love to do that, you know, in the job, and all that really started to pay off.
I think that
really
speaks to
really started to pay off.
Being honest about what it is you're actually capable of doing in front of a computer. You know, don't have these grand things that you know you never touched, or you know just you're unfamiliar with. Be very honest and be truthful to your actual experience and what you actually think you can do. I won't say don't put any extra on there. Don't embellish a little bit.
Embellish a little bit.
Just a little bit. But a little bit. You know, if you never touched C++, don't put C++ on your resume. I know so many engineers who do this and then get asked questions about header files and look crazy. Like, so I think, you know, just be honest about it and, you know, stay calm. You'll be all right. Just keep trying, man. Keep trying. I didn't get my first job. My first one, I was still in college. I had a cool professor, actually. I would take the interview during his class. I actually flew up to McLean. They interviewed me. I didn't get that job, but I got the next one. You know, and I didn't feel hurt or anything. I was like, that was way over my head. And
Yep.
I wasn't, I'm glad they didn't hire me because I would have been terrible, you know? So yeah, man, don't get discouraged. Just keep trying. You will get it. Trust me. There's so many jobs out here. Yeah, you guys are smart.
I'm telling you, man, like lots of so many failed interviews. Like I've been through so many failed interviews. First interview?
Your first tech interview?
No,
exactly.
Like I never, like exactly. No, like
neither one of us passed our first tech interview.
Not even close.
You see what I'm saying,
bro?
So,
I've taken Skype interviews where I closed the computer in the middle of talking, like,
oh no,
this is yes sir, yo, closed.
No,
like, yeah, I have, man. I'll be honest, man. It's like, whoop, that's not for me. Like, yeah, I have. Like, I really want to be honest about these things. Like, it's been a grind. It has been a grind. It takes a really long time to get classic. I mean, I was so flustered that I was like, I don't have time for this. Like, and also I did do it when I had a job that I liked. I was just like, I don't know what I was doing.
So funny.
And
you gotta do like
so
this.
you shouldn't do it. You shouldn't do that. He also called me back like 6 times.
Oh wow.
And I answered after like the 5th time, and I was just like, yeah, like I'm sorry. Like I don't think this job is for me. And he was like, cool. He was like, no problem, man. Like,
this is so funny.
Like, I didn't tell him I closed the laptop. I closed it slow, so I know he saw me do it. But like, it wasn't like a quick thing where he thought we got disconnected. Like, I definitely like slowly closed it, but like it was embarrassing. It was
the funniest thing, bro.
I remember that day because I also remember that day because at the time I lived in a house with I was on the track team in school. This was at the end of school, and I lived in the house with 6 other dudes, and we had like a big house, like 6 of us in there. And I remember standing up with my button down, but I had on like shorts, and then like walking out in the hallway, and then like walking downstairs with my friend to grab a beer, like my roommate there, grab a beer, because it was like, man, that was stressful.
Oh, that was great. There was times where I had coding.
I was definitely that guy.
I had coding. There was times where I had like to sign in and do coding challenges. I remember one company was Etsy, and I got past the first one pretty easily. And she actually was on the call and watching me actually code the problem.
And I got past that one. And then the second round, I got destroyed, bro. I actually just said, sorry, I can't code this. Like, I've done stuff like that before, you know?
Yeah.
So, I mean, I've never closed a laptop, though. That's crazy, Aaron.
Is it crazy?
That's crazy.
So full disclosure.
That's crazy.
Full disclosure. It was for a storage engineer. In fact, you know what? I mean, I don't know if I can get in trouble for this, but was it Zadera? I don't know. Zadera. These people. No.
That's cool though.
Feels like it was these people, something like this, and it was like for a storage engineer. I did not know. First off, I did not know there were that many file system types. I did not know there were that many storage protocols. I did not know. He was like, yeah, how do you change? Like, what were the processes switching from ZFS to like something else? I was like, bruh, what are you talking? Like, what are you talking about? I was like, I've worked in data centers. Like, I don't know. Like, at that point, that was interesting because at that point, I had known Linux like the back of my hand. Like, I knew Linux very, very well at that point. I did a lot of stuff, and like the stuff that he was asking me was so
crazy,
like intricate to like specific storage problems. Like, man, look, I don't know what you were talking about. So ZFS is great. I now know. At the time, I was like, bro, I don't like. Why would I need to switch from that to this? Why can't we just put the stuff on the hard drive? like I don't. What do you like? What do you like? Can we just save it to the hard drive? Like I don't know. It was a very interesting time, but I just want to like.
But you have to go through that.
You gotta like it helps to go through that. I mean, you can prepare yourself again using. There's so many more resources out now than there were before. Like like you can definitely make it so that you don't have to go through those exact things.
I remember using YouTube when I was actually going through the process.
Right.
I didn't use YouTube at all.
I didn't start
Googling.
I didn't start until someone told, like a dude told me. It sucked. I did a whole interview at a place in Northern Virginia, and I really liked them. And the guy I could tell it was going really well until he had me start whiteboarding. And again, this happened because I embellished a little bit. I was good at Bash. I was a good Bash scripter at the time. All of the introductory technical discussions went really well. But that role did need an aspect of software development in there, and basically what they asked me to do. I think I wrote that I knew Ruby at the time on there.
Why would you do that?
I don't think I meant to keep it on there. I think I don't know why I was on there, but it was on there. I think I know. You know what it was? I think I had watched like 20 minutes of a Ruby video, so I put it on there. Because I thought I could do this because I knew Bash. So I was like, I can apply these concepts. And they asked me to go through something in Ruby specifically because that's what they were using, and I didn't know anything. But what helped is I was like, hey, bro, I don't know this, but let me run through like a Bash script that would do something similar, and that actually worked. It worked. Yeah. And basically he was like, he gave me a lot of feedback and was like, you're like. We were impressed with your background. He was like, we did find someone, a little more of a right fit for the job, but like, he kept my number around. He actually called me a few times when things opened up after that, but I just wasn't, at that point, I was not going to Virginia.
Because they like you as a person, bro.
Yeah, I mean,
and that's
great.
I think that's more important than the tech skills. But you can learn the tech skills, bro.
Oh yes, you know what's funny? I do think that's what happened. I think I learned about Puppet, and that's why I think I was messing around with Puppet, and that's why I thought I knew Ruby. I do think that's what happened though. I think it was something like that. Maybe it wasn't Puppet exactly, but I think I was using some program for a client, and it was Ruby based, and I was doing some stuff with it, and I had made changes in it and stuff. And I was like, I got this. I know Ruby. It was a big mistake. You live and you learn. Like I don't support that, but I do think people don't. I think people do think that they need more proficiency with an item than they think to put it on the resume. I think that it's perfectly reasonable to put, again, technologies that you understand what problems they solve, and you can speak about them intelligently. I would throw those on the resume. I don't think you need to necessarily know how to use the product to put that on your resume, to be 100% honest. But cool. All right. We spent a lot of time, a lot of questions, a lot of fun. I have work to do. I have so much work to do. I have a lot of stuff to get for you guys. I need to upload. If you're looking for I know somebody was looking for the last videos for last week. Those are already rendered. Those are going up tonight. So I will get those up for you all. I've got to send some stuff off as well. Again, little plug. We're probably going to be plugging it until June, to be honest. But if you're interested in Golang, GopherCon is in Orlando this year, and we're actually going to be giving we're actually going to be teaching a class there, an advanced Go class, talking about performance, talking about properly creating modules, talking about profiling, talking about just Go routines, talking about channels, talking about how to really optimize your Go code. So if you're interested in it, I'll definitely have more information about it, but just want to throw it out there. Also, want to plug Hack Baltimore. Hack Baltimore is coming up in May. I actually think we're going to be actually teaching a course at Hack Baltimore. We were just going to bring a team to kind of hack on some things, which we still will do. But I think we're working with Hack Baltimore right now to be able to do some cool stuff there. Hack Baltimore is a big citywide hackathon. So if you're on the East Coast, Baltimore, DC area, DMV area, and you want to do some cool stuff, solve some real problems, it's a pretty dope concept. First time they're doing it, but like the projects that win are going to actually have funding for 2 years. So this is a big time thing. It's not a little come work for the weekend, and like these projects are actually going to get funded. So it's a pretty big thing. So just want to start throwing it out there, start building some hype for it, because I think it's going to be. I just think it's a cool. Like I'm not affiliated with them in any way. It's just a dope concept that I really want to be a part of. Hack Baltimore code to get out before you get shot. Hey man, I've been in Baltimore for a while. I'm from PG. I'm from closer to DC, and I always have my concerns about Baltimore. So like I understand all of the anti-Baltimore statements, but being here for the past few years,
it's a fantastic city.
It is.
I love this city.
PG is not the Dundalk of DC. Frederick is the Dundalk of DC. It's definitely Frederick is definitely the Dundalk of DC. Like PG's the.
What would you call PG?
PG's the Owings Mills of DC. Like Owings Mills is to Baltimore as PG is to DC. Like 100%. 1000%. I can't believe you just said those blasphemous words. That hurt my heart. PG is not Dundalk. Like, I'm sorry if anybody here is from Dundalk. I'm sorry if anyone from Dundalk, but come on, man. Like Dundalk.
Dundalk, man.
I'm not shouting out to Dundalk. That's the one place I'm not gonna shout out to.
Oh snap.
They don't have internet in Dundalk. I mean, all right, I'm gonna stop talking about Dundalk. That's me. So I'm joking around. I'm just messing around. Everyone, yeah, we're just messing around. I'm so mad at this PG is the Dundalk of DC thing. That hurts.
We got Dundalk users, subscribers right now.
Well, they left now, so I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Dundalk folk. Y'all gotta get these jobs, get this tech money, and move to an adjacent county or the city. To be 100% honest, but cool. Great stream tonight. Had a good time. Get ready on Wednesday to actually utilize the things that we learned about classes tonight. Also, if you're into DevOps, tomorrow we're going to be doing Ansible. So Ansible is going to be your configuration management platform to help you be able to do some of this automation that a couple people have asked about automation tonight. So we will be doing some of that tomorrow. And then, doing more of this on Wednesday. Not streaming this Friday. For people who don't know, we streamed on last Friday. We did a little just wind down session, played some games. We left it open to be a session like this. That's what it's going to be. It's office hours, but we'll be playing some games. We played some Overwatch with some people on the stream. Just had a little bit of fun. Played some Jackbox TV games as well. But we won't do that this week, but I'll be definitely doing it next Friday. So if you clear your schedule, come by, have some fun, wind down from the week if you want. But I just want to give people a heads up when I'm going to be running those. I'll probably do it every other week.
Cool, that'd be a new office.
Yeah, every other week, and just have a little fun. I really enjoyed it. So cool. Thanks for a good time. Have you read the DevOps Handbook? I have, and I've read the Phoenix Project. Both great books. The Phoenix Project is really good. it's good. It's interesting. It's an interesting story. But I do encourage anyone who is who's seriously getting into DevOps and infrastructure, and like architecture, to give definitely the Phoenix project a try, as well as the DevOps handbook. It's pretty good as well. You'd be surprised about. I was always averse to reading those kind of books. Not against reading, but a reading specifically of those like books related to the field that weren't like exact skills. I thought they would be useless, but they were actually very beneficial, and kind of change the way you kind of think about certain things and help your mind to kind of wrap around why some concepts that people are pushing are great. So I think that's cool. And Mythical Man Month. I've never read that, so I'll add that to the list.
Mythical.
I will add that to the list. I'll read that next. Yeah, I will. Cool. Glad everyone for joining. Thanks everybody for joining. Is there anyone online tonight to raid? Does anyone have any preferences?
You loved that raid last night.
Oh yeah. I mean, that was a great raid. Yeah, let's actually see if he's online tonight.
I watched a little bit of it.
That was Vape Juice Jordan. Let's see. Cool. Let's we're heading over to Downright. We're just going through our list of like 3 people. Maybe one day I'll spend some time checking out more. But we're gonna head over to Downright. So if you want to learn a little bit more about Python, that's where we're going. He's usually doing some cool stuff. What's up, Salty Papas? I forgot to say thank you for the follow. Welcome. Let's head over to Downright. Everyone have a great night.
See you guys.
See you later. I counted down too fast because I still have 3 seconds left before I can do it.
Waving. Hey, chill.
Hannibal teaches Python. I love it. Night.